Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. The senators and all in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by Nathan Hatfield, Assistant Clerk, Links. Following the prayer, all will remain standing and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by Senate Clerk Susan Clark Shar.
Let us pray. O God, whose presence makes every space sacred, bless us in our work today. I praise you, for your wisdom surpasses our wisest decision, and your grace silently inhabits the routine and mundane moments of our day. Make us mindful of your design for our life and work, even as we focus on the list of tasks before us. Make our effort and sacrifice at work today an offering worthy in your sight. In your hand, give us courage and strength. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk will call the roll. All those in attendance will please record their vote aye.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Clerk will close the roll. Thank you, Madam Clerk. The clerk will report a certain communication on the desk.
Proclamation. In accordance with the provisions of Article 4, Section 6, and Article 5, Section 5 of the Constitution of Virginia, and the powers thereby vested in the governor to call a special session of the General Assembly, I, Ralph S. Northern, Governor of Virginia, do hereby summon the members of the Senate and House of Delegates constituting the General Assembly of Virginia to meet in special session commencing the 18th day of August, 2020, for the purpose of adopting a budget based on the revised revenue forecast and consideration of legislation related to the emergency of COVID-19 and criminal and social justice reforms. Given under my hand as Governor of Virginia and under the lesser seal of the Commonwealth at Richmond, the 17th day of July, 2020, and in the 245th year of the Commonwealth. Ralph S. Northern, Governor of Virginia. Kelly Thomason, Secretary of the Commonwealth.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The Senate is operating under the rules of the Senate adopted at the commencement of the 2020 session. The Chair recognizes the Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke, for the purpose of taking up a resolution.
Mr. President, I move that the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title and engrossment be waived, and Senate Resolution 503 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title and engrossment be waived, and Senate Resolution 503 be taken up for immediate consideration?
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Senator.
I believe inquiry is Senate Resolution 503. Is that the one dealing with the comptroller?
Yes.
Yes, it is, Senator.
I got it.
Okay. Question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title and engrossment be waived, and Senate Resolution 503 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The rules are suspended. to take up the resolution for immediate consideration.
Senate Resolution Number 503, 2020 Special Session 1 Operating Resolution.
Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
I move that the resolution be agreed to.
Question is, shall the resolution be agreed to? All in favor of agreeing to the resolution will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 5.
Ayes 34, noes 5. The resolution is agreed to. Senator Saslaw is ordered to inform the House of Delegates that the Senate is duly organized and ready to proceed to business. Senate will stand at ease. Senate will come to order. Senators will please take their seats. Senator from Hampton, Senator Locke.
I move that the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and House Joint Resolution 5006 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution,
Mr. President.
the readings of the title be waived? Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. If the gentlelady from Hampton would be so kind to yield for a question of two as it pertains
Thanks,
to
Senator.
that
Senator, yield for a
resolution.
question. Senator yields. You have the floor.
I would say to the gentlelady, if she can't hear me, just wave and I'll try to speak a little louder. As I read the resolution in the first paragraph, there are a number of subparagraphs, 6 of them, whereby the governor has issued a call that would allow the introduction of legislation for 6 general areas. My question, which is not rhetorical, is there any form of legislation that could not fit into one of those 6 paragraphs?
Senator has the floor.
Any legislation that would not fit into one of these categories in the House resolution or the governor's call?
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not sure I heard the response, but in my advanced stage, even with my brand new hearing aids, sometimes it's not as acute as it should be. Mr. President, going down to, if the lady would be so kind to yield for another question.
Senator yield. Senator yields. You have the floor.
Mr. President, my question would be directing her attention to line 16 of House Joint Resolution 5006. It starts out, resolved further, after adoption of this resolution, no member may introduce more than 3 bills. My question, Mr. President, to the lady is, does that mean that there can be unlimited number of bills introduced by an individual senator prior to the passage of this resolution?
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Line 18 is where I see that, and that would be my conclusion.
Further question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. My next question, dealing with the introduction of bills, is it contemplated that all of the bills which have been filed by senators, regardless of their political persuasion, are going to be considered by the appropriate committee?
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I would answer that would be left up to the chair of that committee.
I apologize, sir. I didn't hear the response. I just couldn't hear
That
it.
would be
Senator
left-
couldn't hear the response.
Mr.
Sorry, Senator.
President, I said that would be left up to the chair of that committee to make that determination.
Senator, hear the response?
I thank the lady. If she would be so kind to accept another question or two.
Senator Gill.
I just might
Mr.
do
President,
that.
Senator Yields, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I would ask, upon reviewing the calendar today, I noted that at 4 o'clock there is a courts or a judiciary committee meeting that is scheduled. Upon reviewing the rest of the schedule that was shared with the members of the Senate, I did not see another courts committee that was requested. I also noticed upon reviewing the docket for today's court committee that there were many, many bills that were not docketed. And my question is, do you anticipate, as the chairman of rules, that there will be another courts committee meeting that will be held where all bills filed by the senators will be considered?
Senator has the floor.
I anticipate that there will be a second Judiciary Committee meeting.
I'm
Further
sorry,
question?
Mr. President, would you relay the message, please? No, if you could just tell me what she said, I'm fine.
The senator said, and Senator, correct me if I'm wrong, that she anticipates that there will be a second Judiciary Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do appreciate that. And my last question to the lady, if she will continue to yield, please.
Senator Yield. Senator Yield, you have the floor.
And Mr. President, that is focusing on the resolved paragraph beginning on line 22. And that talks about each body may recess from time to time and reconvene with 48 hours advance notice. Does the gentle lady contemplate that the House of Delegates and the Senate will be meeting simultaneously, or does this language suggest that we could be meeting at separate times on separate days in separate places?
Senator has the floor.
I cannot anticipate what the House will do. I can only anticipate what the Senate might do.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may follow up to that, then as the chairman of rules, if I may politely inquire, what does the Senate intend to do?
Senator has the floor.
The Senate intends to meet with committees as it has been scheduled for this week.
Further question?
I thank the lady.
Thank the senator. Any further questions?
Mr. President, I'm so sorry.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Yes, Mr. President, if I may ask the chairman of rules a question of clarification.
Senator Yield for a question. Senator Yield, you have the floor.
Mr. President, I did not understand the stature of the bills that have already been submitted that exceed 3. And so if senators have already laid on the clerk's desk more than 3 bills, will they be considered in the special session?
Senator has the floor.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. My response was that what bills will be heard if they fall within the purview of what is listed in the resolution. That is, if they fall within the purview of COVID-related impacts on health, education, state and local governments operations, police reform, criminal and social justice reform, it will be left up to the chair of the committee that is meeting as to whether or not that chair will docket the bill. Is that clear?
Senator, hear the response.
Yes, Mr. President, that is clear. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Any further questions?
Mr. President.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask the Chair of Rules, the Senator from Newport.
From Hampton.
Hampton, sorry. I'm going through every Hampton Roads jurisdiction.
Still
if
from
he would
Hampton.
yield for a question.
Senator Yield for a question.
Yes.
Senator Yield, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Chair. As I look at the procedural resolution, I notice that there's no election of judges here, and I don't understand why this procedural resolution is different after so many other procedural resolutions in the past have elected judges at special session.
Senator has the floor.
I did not write this resolution. This resolution is coming from the House. I cannot tell you why it does not include judges.
Further question?
Yes, Mr. President.
Senator Yield. Senator from Hampton Yield.
Yes.
Senator Yield, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam Chair. So would I take it that if an amendment were offered, that it might be received warmly in this body, that we would elect judges at this special session like at almost all the other previous special sessions?
Senator has the floor.
You are free to offer an amendment to the resolution. I'm not sure how it may be received in the other body.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank the senator. Any further questions? Senator from James City County, Senator Norman. Thank the senator. I don't know if your mic may not be on, Senator.
Is that better, sir?
That is better. Yes, Senator, you have the floor.
Let me see if I can get this pink mask off, as attractive as it is from Madam Clerk. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I know that I'm probably expending words in air that are meaningless, but just the same, it'll make me feel better. I'm respectfully requesting that we not adopt this House Joint Resolution 5006, and by so stating, it is not a reflection on anyone that may have participated in the authorship of it. But it is abundantly clear to me a couple of things. The first time that I saw the proposed House Joint Resolution for the operation was when the senior senator from Fairfax was very generous and shared it with me yesterday. I am very respectful of the majority party, regardless of which party may have the majority in the Senate. And I appreciate that they have the latitude to approach things as the majority of their caucus determines. I am concerned, one, about this resolution is that I don't recall that the ladies and gentlemen on my side had any participation in it whatsoever, but that is the prerogative of the majority. It does concern me. It is abundantly clear, based upon the number of bills that I have seen that have been posted online with the legislative services, that whether the Courts Committee has one meeting or whether the Courts Committee has two meetings, that it is absolutely going to be physically impossible for the legislation that has been filed by senators to be considered. Consequently, what is obviously going to happen is that the chairman of those committees is going to have the unilateral authority to decide whose bill will be heard and whose bills will not be heard. And I suggest to you, based upon what I have reviewed in the Courts Committee, that is the way that it will go. And I am mindful that from both sides of the aisles that some of the bills filed in courts have not been posted, but I am concerned about that. I am further concerned about the process that is going on. It appears to me, under the language of the resolution, that the House could meet one day under some circumstances that might be foreign to the Senate, and the Senate could meet on another day. So consequently, we're not going to have the concurrence of both bodies meeting at the same time. And even if the Senate, in its normal fashion, is more efficient, more expedient, and more thorough than the House of Delegates in dealing with legislation, we are going to remain somewhat at the mercy of the House of Delegates as they determine what their schedule is going to be. And if there is not concurrence on what their schedule is going to be, what could be done, and perhaps in a week, may go on for weeks and weeks and months. And that just makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I do respect that we're a bicameral legislature and we have to try to get along as best as we can. But I feel in this instance, and it is more intuitive than empirical, that somewhat the House is dragging us along in a very unorthodox approach. Another major concern that I have is some of us, at least on this side, have heard from our constituents that they don't feel like they're going to have the opportunity to be heard. And I know that there has been a portal that has been opened purportedly where citizens could register to be heard at the upcoming courts meeting, and people have not been able to access it to sign up. We are a deliberative legislative body that is a reflection of the citizens that we represent. And because of the pandemic situation, and because of the lack of coordination, I think, with the House of Delegates, it is my perspective, and I ask no one else to join in on it, it is my perspective that in essence, we are depriving the general public of an opportunity to actively participate in the legislative process. And that just seems to be contradictory to what we are trying to do here. So once again, I don't direct those comments as criticism at any single individual. This is just a miserable way to do business.
Thank the senator. Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I rise for a point of clarification. Mr. President, I think I would ask you, sir, what is the number of votes that are required to bring the resolution up for immediate consideration?
Senator, it's 2/3 of the senators voting.
Mr. President, another parliamentary inquiry. If we do not have 2/3 at this time, maybe given the errors in the House resolution, at what point will the House resolution be on its amendable stage? In other words, if we did not pass the rules today, is this something that will go on its third reading as a House resolution or its second reading?
Thank the senator. And I believe the answer is that if we do not have a 2/3 vote, affirmative vote on the resolution, it would then go to committee. And then the committee would have to consider it. If the committee were to report it, it would come back to us, to the general body, on second reading.
Mr. President, then further parliamentary inquiry.
Senator's the floor.
Mr. President, then if it was the desire of some to fix the errors that have come from the House, we could simply not have the 2/3, and at that point, it will go to a committee where amendments could be made, sir. Is that correct?
That's correct, Senator.
Thank you for your help, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw. I think your mic may be off. No, touch your mic, Senator. Right there. There you go. I think it's on now. Yes, Senator.
The only thing, let me just say this to Senator from James City County and Bedford. It isn't for lack of trying that we have not tried to get some form of organization out of the House of Delegates. I mean, we've been trying for several months, and in fact, we didn't even get their list of bills dealing with criminal justice, I think, until just a few days ago, and after several months of trying. Now, we can send this to the Rules Committee, but the only thing that I would say to you all is if we can amend it on the floor, it would be more efficient, because this is just going to delay it even more. And so I think a suggestion by Senator Suderline would be acceptable to most people, but if you want to get into things that are going to cause us, or create the inability to get 2/3 vote, keep in mind, I mean, you're just extending the starting day of the session two or three more days. So if we can work it out, maybe in a 15-minute recess or something like that, it might be better. But I wanted to explain to everybody in here, we've been trying to, get a schedule that, would mesh with ours, and we have been unsuccessful. But it has not been for lack of trying, Senator Norman. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Following up on the comments or suggestion by the senior senator from Fairfax, I am certainly willing to encourage my minority side to take a brief recess and see if a couple of our members can get together with a couple of the members on the other side of the aisle to see whether or not there can be some appropriate amendments that would be made to the resolution. But I would say in the absence of that, I would respectfully be asking the ladies and gentlemen on my side to not participate in the two-thirds vote.
We'll do that.
Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Sasslaw.
A 30-minute recess.
Without objection, the Senate will stand in recess for 30 minutes.
Governor, it came on. Okay. Yes.
Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Question pending now before the Senate is with regards to whether the rules should be suspended concerning House Joint Resolution 5006. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a substitute motion, and the substitute motion would be to move that the resolution be agreed to with the recommendation that it not be moved, that it not be agreed to. So I'm moving the underlying question on the ultimate disposition of the resolution, and then I would call the pending question.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Can the gentleman make a motion and then move the pending question at the same time? In the substitute motion, is he making two motions? And can you move the pending question before the other motion's been agreed to or made at the same time that's being made?
We'll consider the inquiry. Senator, be at ease.
Oh, let's don't get wrapped around the axle on this. Mr. President.
Senate will come to order. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, I have a motion, and I would encourage the ladies and gentlemen who happen to be on our side to listen to this motion and to be supportive of it. Mr. President, my motion would be that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that House Joint Resolution 5006 be taken up for immediate consideration. Mr. President, I would then say that my second motion would move that House Joint Resolution 5006 pass with a suggestion that it not pass, and move the pending question.
Point of order.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Is it not true that you cannot move the pending question after making another motion?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So the other motions come up first before any other motion.
Correct. And I tell you what, just to make this even cleaner, there were two motions that were made prior to this one. So does the senator wish to withdraw those two prior motions?
Yes, sir, I do, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. And now let's take up your first motion, Senator, if you don't mind.
Mr. President, my first motion would move that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that House Joint Resolution 5006 be taken up for immediate consideration.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the rules be suspended, the Committee on Rules be discharged from further consideration of the resolution, the readings of the title be waived, and House Joint Resolution 5006 be taken up for immediate consideration? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, no 0.
Ayes 40, no 0. The rules are suspended to take up the resolution for immediate consideration. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now move that House Joint Resolution 5006
Okay, we'll recreate it.
I'm getting hand signals over there.
We just need 1 minute, Senator. Technical issue.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I was getting hieroglyphics to do something.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sometimes this social distancing has a challenge to it. Mr. President, my motion would be that House Joint Resolution 5006 be agreed to with a recommendation that it not be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben rise?
Support the gentleman's motion. But
Senator has the floor.
I just want to be clear that to the people who might be listening at home or the press, that there is an urgency to pass police reform, to deal with COVID, criminal social justice reform, and deal with the budget bill, and that the actions of the Senate are in the interest of efficiency and expediency, and that is it. That's all. Thank you.
For what purpose, Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Is my microphone on?
Yes,
All right.
it is, Senator.
I rise to speak to the bill,
Senator has the floor.
and I speak in favor of the bill or the motion. But I would like to say this to the people here and to the people in the House of Delegates. When we were here in March, we knew full well, because of the pandemic, we were going to have a tremendous budget shortfall. We came back to vote in this very building. We knew full well that we were going to have to come back in special session because of a budget shortfall. The governor for months has been talking about when we were coming back into special session. He declared the special session a month ago. Not a single member of the Republican caucus received the Senate special rules. We are just now seeing the House special rules today. And apparently, the Democratic members of the Senate, of the Senate caucus are just seeing the House rules today. We're supposed to be getting the people's business done. It cost the citizens of the Commonwealth of Virginia $42,000 a day just for us every day that we are here. And we're here because of a budget shortfall. And this stuff has not been worked out in the 5 months since we were last here, in the 30 days since the governor called a special session. It's outrageous. We're here for the citizens. We're spending their money. Get this stuff done. Get it worked out before we get here. Get it worked out behind the scenes. We should be voting on the bills and getting out of here and saving as much money as we can for the citizens of the Commonwealth and getting our budget in order. That's what we're elected to do. That's what we should be doing today.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose is the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
Can you hear me?
I can. Senator has the floor.
Just a couple of things. To begin with, we've tried, as I pointed out earlier, for some time, Senator Peake, to get a schedule from the House. We were unsuccessful. With respect to the budget itself, with respect to the budget itself, they didn't have all of the numbers until to begin to get all of the numbers, because that's the way it works, until just a short time ago. It then takes time for them, dealing with economic consultants, to put together a best estimate on where we go from here. And this isn't something that you can just pop up overnight and decide. With respect to the rules, the reason that, and I would expect that this their version is not going to pass, this is not going to interfere with our operation at all. And I want everybody to know that. We're going to we're going to start having hearings as soon as we recess or adjourn for the day from here. Those are going to continue. These hearings will continue until we get our job done, and we're going to get it done as fast and as expeditiously as we can in a manner that won't please everybody, but it'll please most people. But this isn't something that you can do in one day and get out. There's too much involved here. But we're doing the best we can. This resolution, we cannot spend the next week negotiating this with the House. We need to get busy on, we'll work with them, but we're going to get our job done, and we're going to get it done as quickly as possible. And I would ask that you vote no on this resolution passage.
For what purpose is the senator from Hampton, Senator Locke, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to reiterate, as the senior senator from Fairfax stated, that the Senate is duly organized. As you stated at the outset, we are operating under the rules of the Senate as adopted at the start of the session at the 2020 session. We are here to do criminal justice and police reform and to address the budget issues and to address any COVID-related issues. We will get that work done here during this special session. And we will do that expeditiously as members of the Senate here and hopefully in cooperation with our colleagues in the House. So we certainly wish that we could get this work done as quickly and as fast as we can in a cooperative fashion with our colleagues. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. For what purpose is the senator from James City County, Senator Norment, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking towards the bill.
Senators, the floor.
Mr. President, in my old age, many of you have started to refer to me as Senator Cream Puff, and I just want you to know how soft I really am getting. First of all, let me say the motions that I've made are not meant to be directly or indirectly critical of the senator from Hampton or the efforts of the senator from Eastern Fairfax County. I do accept and appreciate the efforts that they have tried to make. My chagrin is more directed at the House of Delegates, and I know that the majority leader has shared with his team, but let me just reemphasize something. If you look around this room, you will see that we have maybe 4 new members, and we welcome the diversity of perspectives that they have. But also what we do have is we have years of stability, years of working with one another, even on contentious issues, and we've had experience on working our way through some of these organizational and parliamentary nightmares. Contrast that with where the House of Delegates is. They may have been frustrated that they have been out of authority for 20 years, and I know how it feels because when the Republicans got a majority in the Senate, we had been in the wilderness for almost 100 years. So I understand their frustration, but they do not have the experience, and they have demonstrated on making effective, efficient leadership. If you look back on previous leaders in the House of Delegates, no matter what party they were, that they had years of experience in having worked through the legislative process, and they understood whether it was Speaker Cox, Speaker Howells, Speaker Moss, Majority Leader Cranwell, Speaker Philpott. Sometimes they recognize you just lead by leading, and you do not lead by following a kitchen cabinet. So I appreciate the comments that are made, and I would ask everyone to please vote against the resolution.
Thank the senator. Any further senators wish to be recognized? Seeing none. Question is, with the recommendation that it not be agreed to, shall House Joint Resolution number 5006 be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 40, noes 0. Ayes 0, noes 40. Sorry about that.
No problem. Ayes 0, noes 40. The resolution is not agreed to. Resolutions, petitions, and bills are now in order. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Clerk will report any announcements on
Mr.
Senator from
President,
Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
yeah, with regard to an announcement, the Judiciary Committee will meet at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and again Thursday at 9:30. Thursday at 9:30, we have a second meeting for the Judiciary Committee.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose the Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker, rise.
Mr. President, there'll be a brief meeting of the General Laws and Technology Committee over here by my box after we adjourn, so to deal with a referral of a bill to another committee.
Thank the Senator. What purpose the Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden, rise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Following the very brief meeting at Senator Barker's cubicle, we'll have a quick meeting of the Transportation Committee at my desk to move a bill over to the Judiciary Committee.
Thank the Senator. Senator from Arlington, Senator from Volt.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Rehab and Social Services Committee will meet 15 minutes after adjournment today in this room. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Seeing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Tuesday, August the 18th, the Committee on General Laws and Technology will meet immediately upon adjournment at the chair's box. The Committee on Transportation will meet immediately upon adjournment of general laws at the chairman's desk. The Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services will meet 15 minutes upon adjournment of Transportation, and this is a virtual meeting, but the members will be here in this room. The Committee on the Judiciary will meet at 4 p.m. This is also a virtual meeting. Tomorrow, Wednesday, August the 19th, the Committee on Education and Health will meet at 10 a.m. This is a virtual meeting. And to follow up, we have added an hour to the sign-up times for people to sign up to speak before committees. So they'll now have 3 hours before each committee to sign up if they want to speak to the committee. If you're a bill patron or a member of the committee that has been called to meet this afternoon, you will meet from your desk in this room. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chair recognizes the distinguished President Pro Tem of the Senate of Virginia, Senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.